Hello, Digger, and welcome to another exciting episode of the Learn True Health podcast. Today's a fun episode because I'm the one in the hot seat. David DeHaas from the Whole Body Detox Show interviews me on episode 179 of his show. So I have taken that episode 179 from the Whole Body Detox Show, David DeHaas being the host, and I'm placing it here so that y'all can listen to our interview. I was just jumping on his show and I was checking it out this morning, and his latest interview, which he published earlier this month, was with Andy Wakefield. I had Andy Wakefield on my show a few years ago. It'd be fun to have him back because he certainly has, Dr. Wakefield certainly has some more information. And he's been in, I think, a few more documentaries since. So that'd be fun to have him back. I love when I get to come together with like-minded people like David DeHaas. David DeHaas has also been on my show. He runs an amazing detox clinic. I think it's in Idaho. Forgive me. I'm pretty sure it's so close. Idaho's like next door to Washington State. But people actually fly in from out of state, from out of country. They fly in to do he has a week long, and I think he has like a 10-day or 2-week long detox where they feed you and they do a whole series of colonics, and they rebuild your gut. And him and I have had some really interesting off-air conversations about how people have come back from the brink. And he's had some really interesting experiences with doctors. When doctors wake up when their own medicine fails them. And I have a lot of those interviews. If you've been listening, over 500 interviews, I have a lot of holistic doctors who started out as medical doctors in the allopathic drug-based medical field. And then they themselves came up against some illness and their system of medicine couldn't help them. And that's when their brain exploded and they went, oh my gosh, we've been taught a lie. We've been taught this lie, which is prevalent. We are all bathed in this lie. And that is that the MD drug-based medicine is the only legitimate medicine out there, that you should always go to an MD, that type of doctor, and every other type of doctor is a quack, or every other type of doctor is a quote unquote, and I'm doing little air quotes, alternative, meaning something less than, not helpful, something less than, and maybe those alternative doctors might, like massage you or something, but they're not legitimate because they don't, give you drugs. And it's been a lie that they've been feeding us. It's PR marketing that they've been feeding us for over 100 years. And I'm not going to go deep down this rabbit hole today, but you can. It's a pretty interesting rabbit hole to go down. So these doctors wake up when they realize that their system of medicine doesn't have all the answers. Not every system does. That's the point. We should not give the power to any one system. And I'm pretty sure that applies to everything in life. Don't give all the power to one type of school system, to one type of food manufacturer, to one type of government. Don't give the power and all the control and all the attention to one system, because that's not how life works. We should have access to, and the freedom to have access to, many types of therapies and healing. So MDs that wake up and go, wow, I need to go outside of my system of medicine to find the answers. And then they find holistic medicine or functional medicine, and then they heal their body, and then they become a born again holistic health expert, and they jump on podcasts like mine. Well, David DeHaas, the host of the interview you're about to listen to, he's had several of these experiences where very prominent MDs come to him unable to eat almost anything. Their gut is totally destroyed. They have eliminated most foods from their diet because they no longer can tolerate food. And they get transformed by going to his clinic. They do something like 10 days of colonics and juicing and all the other wonderful therapies to rebuild the microbiome at David DeHaas's clinic. And they're able to then walk away after 10 days or 2 weeks, able to eat almost anything and tolerate it. And it's so cool. It's so cool that we can do that level of intense healing. So anyways, there's my plug for David's clinic and his podcast, the Whole Body Detox Show. You can also check out David DeHaas's episode on my podcast as well. I had him on a few years ago, and it was wonderful to have him on, and then it was great to reconnect when he saw that I had published my book recently this year, and he said, come on my show, and let's talk about it. So this interview today is a great conversation about holistic health, and we dive into some wonderful ways in which we can help support the body in healing itself. If you haven't seen my book yet, please check it out. Go to learntruehealth.com/addicted to wellness. That's all one word. learntruehealth.com/addicted to wellness, or you can just go to Amazon and type in Addicted to Wellness by Ashley James. It's a workbook. It's a lot of fun. I have taken the accumulation of the last 12 years of working in this industry in the holistic health field, working with thousands of clients. Before I worked in the holistic health field, I worked with clients for now 20 years. I can't believe that. You gotta look back and you go, oh my gosh. In my mind, the 90s were 10 years ago, I'm an 80s baby. And it's just wild. So to think that I've been working with clients that long, but I was working as, I don't even want to call it a life coach, but I was doing breakthrough sessions with people using neurolinguistic programming and timeline therapy. So I'm working with clients for a long time. And this book is accumulation of all my knowledge from 20 years of working with people and over 500 episodes talking in depth with holistic health experts. And the book, I made it fun, I made it light, and I made it impactful. So if you want to take your health to the next level, no matter where you are, this book meets you where you are, and you will be able to, through a series of fun challenges, take your health to the next level. So I invite you to jump on it, to try it, even if you have 5 minutes a day, even if you have 10 minutes a day. You can do this book. If you have a busy schedule, you can do this book. I wanted to make it so that every single person could fit it into their life. So get it. Addicted to Wellness. Get my book. It's a workbook, so you get to actually do things. That's where rubber meets the road, and you get to experience health changes as you build up your body. And that's what we talk about today in today's episode, among other things. So enjoy today's episode. Please check out David DeHaas's podcast, The Whole Body Detox Show. And please share my podcast with those you care about. This is a grassroots movement. My goal is to help over 1 million people to get their health back, and I can't do it without your help. So you are part of that. You're the ripple that helps turn this ripple into a tidal wave to help as many people as possible to learn true health. Welcome to the Learn True Health podcast. I'm your host, Ashley James. This is episode 525.
Good morning, everyone. David DeHaas, your host of the Whole Body Detox Show from Living Waters Wellness Center, where miracles begin by healing from within. And today, I have a very kindred spirit on the show today, Miss Ashley James. Miss Ashley James has a podcast of her own called Learn True Health. You've done some over 516 plus episodes and growing. Does a fantastic job, so you can check that out. But she's an entrepreneur, podcaster, author, and we're having her on because she just wrote an amazing book called Addicted to Wellness. Ashley is a bit like me. You went through a lot of a health journey. There's a picture of it right there. A health journey, much like myself, and we had to figure out how to save our lives, and she did, and I did. So we're here teaching others. Amazing. And she's also a massage therapist, a Reiki master, trained in neuro-linguistic programming, timeline therapy, hypnosis, nutritional coach. She went after it and grabbed all the different things to put them in her toolbox, her wellness toolbox, so she can help others, which is awesome. Ashley James, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. I'm really excited to be here.
So tell us a little bit about everyone has their unique story from sickness to wellness, and you've
Right.
got one amazing story. So maybe
Yeah,
give us a little bit of background. We'll get into your book here a little bit.
it's like rags to riches to rags to riches. So when I was 6, when I was really young, I didn't know any better, and I thought this is just how life is. But I would always have a sore throat. I was always tired,
Mhm.
and I'd wake up in the morning unable to open my eyes because my eyes were crusted over, and I'd have to peel away the crust in my
Oh, wow.
eyes. They were sealed shut. I just remember being really tired and the constant sore throats. And that was my life until I was about 6 years old. And then my mom, who she had been put on antibiotics for the common cold, basically, and ended up staying on antibiotics for several months because this is just, in the 80s what doctors did. And I guess some doctors to this day still do that. Um, so she ran her own business and didn't take the time, like just like a weekend just to relax, or a week just to like let her body recover. So she went to drug after, prescription after prescription to overcome an infection, and gave herself a wicked case of candida. She finally discovered a naturopathic doctor who actually did colon hydrotherapy in his
Hot
clinic.
dang.
Yep,
Yeah.
this is Dr. Diadamo, the original, not his son, but Dr. Diadamo back in the 80s had a clinic in Toronto, Canada, where I'm from. And my mom went to him, got some colon hydrotherapy, and also cleaned up her diet, and she started to get better. So she intuitively said, well, if it's good for me, it's probably good for my daughter. And I remember at 6 years old being in his clinic. I remember looking him in the face as he took a drop of my blood and figured out I was an O blood type, looked at my eyes for
Wow.
radiology, looked in my ear, examined my throat because I had that constant sore throat. And he looked at me and he said, you are allergic to milk, yeast, wheat, and sugar. Stay away from them. Now, even at the age of 6, I knew that were the ingredients. Those were the ingredients in my favorite chocolate bar, Coffee Crisp. If you're from Canada, you know Coffee Crisp. It's to this day I can still remember what it tastes like, and it tastes like what it sounds. It's
Yeah.
crunchy, it's chocolatey, it's coffee flavored. Who wouldn't love that? And I said to him, well, when can I eat a Coffee Crisp? And he said, once every blue moon. And at the time I thought a blue moon was every month, so I got excited, but I soon found out it meant once in a very long while. We came home and my mom tore through the kitchen, got rid of all the processed food, all the wheat, all the dairy, all the sugar, and we ate basically paleo, like what Dr. Diadamo coined the O blood type diet. And overnight, my sore throat went away. My energy, I couldn't even say it came back. I had it for the first time. And I no longer woke up feeling sick. I no longer woke up with sore throats. I no longer woke up with sleep in my eyes. I would wake up, jump out of bed, and just go, 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 go,
Right.
just 12 hours straight, and then go right to sleep. And I had amazing health. But that was from 6 to 13. At 13, I rebelled and I
Of
started
course.
eating like all my friends. My mom was really strict around food,
Right.
and out of love, but also coming from fear. And just as a parent now, I see like how important it is to teach children why that food is good or bad, and not just restrict without knowledge. So I
Right.
ran towards the all the food I wasn't allowed to eat, and I gave myself chronic infections,
Mm.
type 2 diabetes, chronic adrenal fatigue, polycystic ovarian syndrome. I did I mention type 2 diabetes and infertility. By the time I was 19, I was infertile, and the doctor said after doing a battery of tests that I'd never have kids. So I was so sick from 13 to 19. I created all these illnesses in my body, and I was just feeling so horrible.
Were you seeing Dr. Diadamo then?
No, my mom switched back to an MD, and that MD ended up killing my mom. And
Oh,
that was a big wake up. Yeah, big wake up call for me. I don't know why she didn't. He ended up. I guess he got so famous. He ended up not being in the Toronto clinic, and so she started seeing another naturopath in that clinic, and maybe didn't like that guy
no.
as much. But I really wish she had stuck with holistic medicine, because she'd still be here today, and my life would have been very different. I wouldn't be sitting here with you. But this is my story, right? So
Sure.
we can all hindsight, we can all learn
Right.
from our past, but we have to learn from our past and also appreciate our story so that we can appreciate who we are and where we are now. and then build the future we want. So let's learn from the past. Processed foods is how I developed those illnesses, and
Right.
eating clean, and then lifestyle changes, and finding the right supplements. So supplements are like the mortar, but the bricks, you can't out supplement a bad diet. You can't out exercise a bad diet, right? You can't give yourself enough colon hydrotherapy when you have a bad diet. It all comes down to using your food as medicine. You're building your body. You're building every cell in your body with what you're eating. So I had to dial in how I ate, but I had to go through emotionally, mentally, spiritually, and physically the transformation to be able to shed those illnesses. And I did. I learned what I needed to do. But there were many dark years where I would cry myself to sleep, where I was constantly hungry, just going on the blood sugar swings, feeling out of control. And my liver was so inflamed that anytime I did go on a diet, my liver would just stick out. It would be painful.
Oh, wow. I was
And
like that at one time. I didn't know what was going on, but yeah.
yeah, so I finally figured out that it was heavy metal toxicity. Probably because my body had a really hard time detoxifying. I have MTHFR, and so I had to really support gentle liver detox, support my liver, and in doing that. But every time I went to lose weight, I could taste heavy metals in my mouth,
Hmm.
and that was, and my eyes would burn. I could taste heavy metals, and
You
it
have
was
metal,
like,
did you have mercury fillings or
no,
no?
no. I just um I I think it's from accumulation of, like secondhand smoke and eating
Probably the water
standard eating,
system.
yeah, just drinking soda. I don't know, just any kind of exposure to heavy metals.
Right.
We have so much exposure to heavy metals we don't even realize. But if you also have a problem with detoxifying, then they get accumulated in the body. And so
Right.
I had accumulated a lot. And I've spent the last 7 years working on detoxifying the heavy metals. I have a sauna, sunlight and sauna, which I absolutely adore.
Yeah.
And that we can sweat out the heavy metals gently. I have a PES, which is an ionic foot spa, a platinum energy system.
Mhm.
And those two, actually, I've had people on my show, Learn True Health podcast, discussing how they work. So very gentle detox without having to do like chelators. But
Right.
I do also love chlorella, which there's only a handful of companies. I'd recommend one of them is Energy Bits. And I did have Catherine Arnston, the creator of Energy Bits, on my show as well. So those are really good episodes to check out. And so just through these different modalities, I was able to detox the heavy metals. But before that, back in 2008, when I was at the peak of my illness, my husband and I watched a documentary, and he wanted to help me, but like we just didn't know, right? Like
Right.
you get to this point where you're sick of being sick, but all you know is MD medicine. All you know is go to the doctor, they maybe do blood work, and then they give you a drug. And that just
Yeah.
wasn't cutting it. Like I was just getting sicker and sicker under the watch of the MD. And I'd remembered, when I was 8, when I was 6, I went to a naturopath. That's, holistic medicine, right? Like, maybe that'll work. And I had to go back before my rebellious era and remember what I'd learned when I was very young from the naturopath. And when we watched this documentary, it was about eating whole foods, avoiding processed foods, eating organic. They had interviewed the CEO, the original CEO of Whole Foods, and he said, vote with your fork, shop the perimeter of the grocery store, eat organic.
Yeah.
And we did that. We didn't give up dairy yet. We didn't give up meat yet. We just shopped the perimeter. So we stopped going down the aisles and we chose only organic. So some would call that like the pseudo paleo diet, right? You're just
Right.
eating fruits, vegetables, nuts, seeds. We were doing meat and dairy, but we chose organic. And in that 1 month of primarily cutting up processed food and eating organic, my chronic infections went away. I still felt like crap, but I no longer needed constant antibiotics. And I thought, wow, we did one change, and
Constantly.
one of my major problems went away. So what's the next step? And we just took these baby steps where we did one change, kind of like a challenge, right? Like, okay,
Right.
for the next few days, we're going to do, or for the next week or next month, we're going to do this. And we did one challenge after another. And some things didn't work and some things did, but that's how we figured out. And we eventually cut out all dairy because I'm like, you know what? And the thing is, dairy is the hardest because we're actually chemically addicted to dairy. For many people know this, but for those who don't, breast milk, so mother's milk, right? Cow milk for a calf, goat milk for a goat, for a kid. In order to make the infant want to drink it, right? Put forth the effort to find the nipple and suckle. God, in his infinite wisdom, made breast milk addictive. And then we take milk from another species, we concentrate it into cheese. The thing that triggers the brain, the addiction in the brain, is in cheese in concentrated form. So we are addicted to dairy. And that's the hardest thing out of all the animal products to kick is cheese and dairy. So we decided to go dairy free reluctantly. And overnight, my husband's adult acne went away. It was like within 3 days. He had cystic acne covered his entire back. It was really gross. It was constantly exploding and painful. And he was ashamed and never went shirtless because of it. And he had pitting all over his back, and he had pitting, in his face, but it was mostly in his back and in his chest too. 100% of his acne within 3 days of removing dairy went away. He had never in his entire life not drank dairy or eaten cheese. So this was a little challenge.
Yeah, we had 2 dairy cows, and we always, of course, had raw milk, and of course there was Hershey's chocolate, which was advertised heavily on the TV. And I love my milk with my Hershey's chocolate. So you got pus with sugar, and I had acne, I had allergies, I had all this stuff. And looking back, no wonder I had all these allergies. No wonder I had all these problems.
Right.
Plus I had my mother took me to what I call a drill, fill, and build dentist. Where every time I went to from age 5 on, he's got 2 more cavities, Mrs. DeHaas.
Oh, you mean you have a boat payment, Mr. Dentist?
Yeah. And here, have a lollipop on the way out. Some more sugar. Yeah.
Right.
And it's you're right. Food is, and it's even worse today. I grew up
bad
in the 60s.
Yeah.
Now
it's really bad.
Pure chemicals. Just pure chemicals.
We go down the cereal aisle. So my mom was super strict about cereal in our household. There couldn't be any sugar in it. And we had options. Like, there was a lot of options for zero added sugar. I challenge you to find a 0 added sugar cereal. I can only find one. Like, that's gluten-free also, because we don't eat barley, wheat, rye, or oats in our home. My son is actually allergic to them, but that's what Dr. D'Adamo told me. Don't eat those. And what I've seen with my mentors, I've been trained by several naturopathic doctors, and they say 100% of their clients benefit from removing those grains. And that's because we're not cows. We don't have the stomach processing power to process. And just like eating dairy, like eating cheese is not necessarily healthy for you, but we feel good eating it because we're addicted. So we keep doing it and we're habituated to the damage. You have to remove it for a while before you go, oh, wow, my migraines are gone. Oh, wow, my stiff joints are gone. Oh, wow, my vision's getting better. Like, you start to see things clear up, the inflammation go away, and things you thought were completely unrelated, like, oh, my dry eye is gone, completely unrelated, but that's a sign of inflammation. And you remove that food that is constantly insulting the body.
When you went to Peter, did you, D'Adamo, did he offered colonics? Did he offer him to you as a child?
No, I was a child. No, he didn't offer. I really actually was interested in it. What my mom would tell me stories, because she'd come home from her colonic and I'd be super interested. I was actually interested in holistic health since I was 6. My mom had a newsletter from Dr. D'Adamo, and I would sit on my mom's bed and she would read it to me. And I remember in the 80s, she read me an article he wrote about probiotics. And I was fascinated, as acidophilus was like the only thing they knew about back then, but I was super fascinated. And she read another one about antioxidants and oxidative stress, and how it was, I imagine the bullet bouncing through the body, like the loose the loose molecule bouncing through the body, just like harming the DNA. And he wrote this beautiful article about it. And I just was fascinated. I was fascinated about how the body works and health from that holistic standpoint.
Yeah, think about this. In 1990, no, yes, 1992, Newsweek on its cover, so I was selling nutritional supplements, and they were just starting to talk about free radicals. And people would say, "Oh, DeHaas, you're just a free radical yourself. That's a rock band." Blah 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 blah. I mean, they just dismissed it like that's stupid. You know, what are you talking about? Free radicals? What's an oxidant? And of course, now it's common knowledge about, most people do know what an antioxidant is, but very interesting how in 40 years, 30 years, basically, we finally got to accepting this. But yeah,
science, the mainstream will catch up very slowly. So if you're hearing something,
the community basically slamming it, saying, "Oh, there's nothing to that. You don't want those vitamins. That's just a waste. You're just peeing out your." It was crazy.
Well, the same doctors only a few years before were recommending, Camel cigarettes. So we just have to remember how far we've come since our grandparents or since our parents' generation. Like the American Medical Association was fine with recommending Camel cigarettes. So just gotta take their advice with a grain of salt and then question everything. Question everything. One thing that Dr. D'Adamo did in his colonics that I haven't seen done anywhere else is he added a cactus enzyme that would break down the biofilm. And I was always fascinated about that. And I haven't seen anyone else do that. So my mom told me, I'd ask her, what did they add to the water? One of her friends was from Japan, and they watched a giant, because there's a little viewing window to see what's coming out of you. And they watched a giant worms come out of her, I guess from eating sushi or something.
Oh, we see it all the time. Yes, it's all the time. All the time.
Wild.
Tapeworms, ropeworms, hookworms, liver flukes. We got a whole manual down here, book of pictures of clients have snapped the picture when they're doing their colonic as they've seen the bugs, or at home in the toilet. A lot of time it comes out, we loosen them up and they go home and they poop.
Wow.
It's fascinating.
It is fascinating, isn't it? It's fascinating.
And yet you go do a test. If you go to a doctor and get a test, 98% of the time it's going to be negative because they only test for 5. And look at the bugs don't want to come out on a poop and say, "Hey, here I am." They've buried themselves in the mucosal lining and they're attached, and you gotta go after them with all things: zappers, herbs, our pulse frequency machine, and then the colonics to flush them out.
I wonder why they don't show up on colonic or colonoscopies, or do they?
No, I've never done a colonoscopy.
Right, and nor should you.
Yeah, there's some risk there.
There's a lot of people that die doing just regular colonoscopies. You turn that camera the wrong way, they're piercing your colon. So, and also the anesthesia, you could die from the anesthesia. There's complication, and I have so many things I could get on my soapbox right now. But
we've had clients come back and say, my friend, and that it came, they did it, and then they pierced it, or they got a really bad, I don't know why, but I guess they can't get it totally sterilized, and they got a bug from a foreign country from the equipment, and it killed them.
What?
That was a true
gosh.
story. Number of years ago, 4 years ago, I guess, not too long ago. Anyway, so there are some risks with that, but we do have clients now that come and do colon hydrotherapy before they go do colonoscopy, because it's just so much easier than sitting on a toilet all night drinking the toxic goop that they give you. So that's good.
Right.
So you went on, you're on your healing path.
Yes.
Of course, you said you're taking antibiotics constantly. Oh, that's so bad for the gut.
Right. Yeah. No, it is. It's actually, Dr. Joel Fuhrman has a really good book. I had him on my show, and he talked about this one fact that's in his book. I'm going to remember the name of it. It's Fast Food Genocide. Okay. And he talks about, and it's like within the first few chapters of the book, he talks about the cancer rates go up with every dose of antibiotics.
Yeah, we had a doctor in here, went through our 10-day healing retreat. 10 straight years, antibiotics. She can only drink, what I'm drinking today during this interview, cucumber juice. That's the only thing that she
nice.
They can't see
it. Looks great.
It tastes great too. But that's all she could eat. When she got done with the 10-day healing retreat, she could actually eat. She says, David, I ate a steak last night. It tasted so good. She says, I've ate
That's
some other
amazing.
foods. Yeah, no, she was doing colonics, a lot of colonics. In fact, when she moved to Boise, she told her husband, I'll only move to a city that's got a good colon hydrotherapist. So they scouted out cities. They scouted us out first.
That's fun.
But no, how sad. I mean, so many people have
Yeah.
been like that, like you. They've been on constant antibiotics. And my dad recently, I mean, she had a kidney infection, like kidney stone last year, and he had a stroke, and he had some things going on. And they just started giving him antibiotics.
No.
I said, and of course, I'm not there. I'm 5 hours away. And of course, now what? He's pooping. He's got diarrhea all the time.
Yeah.
Well, I finally just got that changed around. Now we've got a constipation issue.
No. Oh my gosh.
But he was shitting his pants. I mean, he was just, David, I'm crapping my pants all the time. He's just,
I know. Yeah.
He's so upset. And he's got, he's afraid to go out in public. So he doesn't. And hasn't been to, out in public for a while, and about 6 months. And because of that, but he said, hey, I was able to fart today and I didn't poop my pants.
Oh my gosh.
Good win, Dad.
So I have a family member who was on several courses of antibiotics and then got chronic diarrhea to the point where she also couldn't go outside.
Mm-hmm.
And the times that we had to take her like to a doctor's appointment or something, it was like running down her leg. Like it was so sad. And you lose all your dignity. It's just so sad. And I had done an interview about Lactobacillus rhodori.
Right. I listened to that. Very good interview.
Yes, with Dr. William Davis.
Right.
Who wrote the book Wheat Belly. I've had him on my show 3 times. It was the second interview I did. And at the times I was recovering from PTSD from losing my daughter. And I was just, I figured out through the help of a friend who was a psychologist that what I was experiencing was PTSD. And so I'm interviewing him and he's talking about how Lactobacillus rhodori is native to humans. It should be in your gut, but it is not in your gut in the modern world because one course of antibiotics wipes it completely from your system for the rest of your life.
Isn't that crazy?
So, it gets passed down through mother's milk. So if your mother was on one course of antibiotics before you, let's say you've never had antibiotics, but your mom had antibiotics, then you don't have Lactobacillus rhodori. So just think about
the generational dysfunction.
How many people who are living in the modern world, right, who are not like living in Nepal in the mountains, right? Like they've never had antibiotics, but I don't think we could find someone whose generations, you could count all the generations going up who's not had antibiotics. So it's very rare to have Lactobacillus rhodori naturally in your system, but it should be there. Not having it means that we naturally don't make as much serotonin for the whole body. Serotonin converts to melatonin. It's also melatonin's an antioxidant for all the cells, not just the brain.
Right.
And that's just one of the effects. It also increases collagen production. So now we have less collagen production. So there's just like, it goes down the list. So if you take it, and how you take it is you make a yogurt out of it. I figured out, I have made over 200 batches of this yogurt with cashews. I figured out cashews if you're allergic to cashews, you can try it with other, it does not taste good. I'm sorry. The coconut version, the soy version doesn't taste good. The cashew version tastes amazing. It tastes awesome. And it's a 36-hour ferment, and I have it. It's free on my website. Just Lactobacillus rhodori yogurt, cashew yogurt on learntruehealth.com. I made it for this family member, and 3 days later, she called me up and she said, "Make me more because this is the only thing that stopped my diarrhea." It ended her diarrhea. So I went and did a little bit more digging, and I found out that you get obviously we know you get your good microbiome gets wiped out when you do antibiotics. Well, one of the causes of antibiotics or, one of the side effects is that chronic diarrhea. And one of the solutions is Lactobacillus rhodori. So we reintroduce the Lactobacillus rhodori into the gut and it calms everything down. It gets the gut making serotonin again, gets the gut making collagen again. Like it's helping so much. So it ended the diarrhea for her. But then it had, for me, surprise, surprise, it helped me overcome the depression And
Oh, wow.
I noticed that within the same day I took it. The first one I made was out of soy milk, because I had a hermetically sealed soy milk. So I just fermented that. It tasted horrible, but I drank it, and it was like, and I've never taken an antidepressant, but I told my friend who's a mental health counselor after 3 days of drinking, I go, if antidepressants worked, I feel like I'm on one right now. Like I'm feeling happy for the first time in over a year. Like I was just feeling
Wow.
happy in my body. So there's something to that lactobacillus sororitae, and it's just one of the thousands of
Right.
healthy gut microbes that we're supposed to have in our gut.
Yeah.
So, there's so much to supporting the gut.
There is. Well, you think about the colon, 5 to 7 feet, small intestine, about 25 to 30 feet, the surface area the size of a tennis court. There's so much surface area and all
Mm,
these little bugs, good bugs, bad bugs. And, it gets tipped out of balance so easily and they just, you go to one doctor, it's just, you got a little infection. Oh, here's an antibiotic. And next thing you know, you've taken 6 rounds. And in some cases, people get C. diff and they actually die from C. diff.
yeah.
And
Yeah.
so now there's actually companies paying you for good poop, and now they're making tablets. When I first got in this business, I met a doctor and he was so excited about what I was doing. True story. This is great. I've talked about this before on the show. His dad was dying in the hospital in California, and he worked at the hospital here in Boise. And his dad had C. diff, and his dad was just get me home, Mark, just get me home. I just want
Mm,
to die at home. And so he was doing some research and he discovered I could put an implant back in his colon intestinal tract. Maybe that make a difference. And so he went to the hospital and he made his proposal. He says, let's do a fecal implant. And there's one doctor there from Europe that says, hey, no problem. I'd be happy to do it. We do that in Europe all the time. And the doctor's there says, no, it's too much risk, infection, blah, blah, blah. He says, darn it. So he went home and he got a very healthy person, his daughter. She pooped in a bag and he took it to California, put it in a blender, blended it up and put it down his dad's feeding tube. He says, David, it was like instantaneous, like bam. He was like different guy. He says it was incredible. It's like you just saw a wilted plant in the dirt over it, and this thing just like pops up like a plant staring at the sun. He says it was that, and we went back home, and he says, he lived 6 or 7 more months, but he lived at home. He did die. He says, too bad I didn't get to it sooner. But then that was 2009 we hadn't been open very long, 2010 probably. And within about 2 years, I started seeing more and more on the internet. And now you can
yeah.
actually buy poop pills. Now there's actually I saw an advertisement on, I think, Instagram one day. Hey, we'll pay you for your poop if it's good enough.
Right.
They need good poop
Yes.
donors.
Yeah. So I
Yeah,
interviewed Serica Cernhaus on my show many years ago. I've been doing this show for 9 years. So this is probably like 6, 7, 8 years ago.
yeah.
And Serica's wonderful. She's still practicing. So she is down in Arizona, I think Flagstaff, and she was so sick, couldn't eat any food. Just like you
Right.
hear it time and time again, like just have
Right.
to do the elimination diet, then they
Right.
can't eat anything. And she learned about how important the microbiome is. So she started to eat tiny, tiny, tiny doses, micro dosing different live culture fermented foods and a variety. Variety is the key. Like you're talking like less than a teaspoon at each meal, sauerkraut, kimchi, whatever she made, right? You
Right.
can ferment almost anything. I have amazing salsa recipe in my book. Amazing salsa recipe, little
Oh,
plug
cool.
for my book. That's a 3-day pico de gallo ferment, and it is delicious.
Get out.
So she was fermenting everything.
This spot, Addicted to Wellness is the book. And where can I get the book actually?
Oh, so they can go to learntruehealth.com/addicted to wellness. That'll take them to the Amazon link where they can purchase it. Yeah.
Cool.
And or they could just go search addicted to wellness on Amazon.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Keep going.
Oh yeah. So Serica Sternhaus, she rebuilt her gut microbiome.
Mhm.
And now her people are trying to pay her for her poop. She won't sell it, which I'm like, oh my gosh, they're offering her thousands of dollars per bowel movement. And
What?
I'm like, she's making 3 bowel movements a day. Like she could just poop.
That's
And
90,000 a month.
and yeah, she could poop and be a millionaire. And I don't know why she's not selling her poop, because like She's, in a way she's helping people, but I can also see like her standpoint because she's like giving into the system, right? Like that's not
Right.
actually helping people. What's really helping people is teaching them that they can do the same thing that she did. So now her gut microbiome is in the top 99 percentile for the most diverse gut microbiome. And what we have, the average American has the Homer Simpson of gut microbiomes. There's very little diversity. And
Right.
our gut microbiome is actually making us stupid. It is dumbing us down.
Ding,
It
ding,
is
ding, ding. I've been saying that, preaching that for the last couple of years, on the talk radio show we're on here, KIDO Talk Radio. You watch all the crazy, liberals, Republicans, well, all of them. I mean, there's so much stupid being said over the everywhere. And I've been saying it's our food. We got glyphosate that's killed our soils. We had
yeah.
Jim Zamzo on not too long ago talking about how we recover soils. And because they destroyed the microbiome in the soils. But no, you see what's coming out of people's mouths. They can't think. I remember we covered a gal. Speaking of that, to your point, she dropped out of college. She had a hard time, studying, retaining memory. We'd have to make notes for her. Happiest gal ever. We'd make a nice list. She would do great work, smile, happy, glad to be here. And she was going off. She's an LDS member, and she was going to go on a mission. And I told my wife, I says, this gal is sick, not sick. We're not setting it. Let her go away until we do a 10-day cleanse for her. So we gave her a 10-day cleanse. I remember day 8, she had to speak at her church. And she was really nervous. She hated this. She did not want to speak in front. She was so nervous. She came back. I said, hey, how did your speech go? She goes, it went amazing. She goes, David, people come up to me and they said, like, whoa, where'd you learn to speak like that? You're better than any of the missionaries come back, and yada, yada, yada. She goes, David, I can think.
Yes.
So she cleaned out her body, got her colon and small intestine healed, and started restoring, got that transverse colon. That's where 90% of your serotonin gets made. And she, different person.
I love it.
All the time.
I love it. Yeah. So we can rebuild our gut, eat small amounts of fermented foods. I have a whole chapter in my book on rebuilding the gut. And
I was going to have you ship me some of your salsa and your ferment. So are you shipping now?
It's easier for you to make it in your own kitchen because you can regulate like how much how much of each, if you want it to be spicier, like, or not.
Right.
But it's super easy to make. It's crazy easy. It's the hardest part about fermenting is mentally getting over the fact that you're leaving things out of the fridge. Like
right.
you are not hurting yourself. Like the salt slows down any bad microbes, but the good microbes thrive. And
do you get a little yogurt maker and use that, or
no. So are you talking about the cashew, the Lactobacillus rhodori yogurt? Yeah. So there's a type of Instant Pot that not all Instant Pot models. There's one Instant Pot model where you can manually adjust the temperature because it has to be under 109, ideally between 100 and 108 Fahrenheit. So I set mine to about 102, 103. I have a yogurt thermometer and I check the batch.
Okay.
Sometimes I have to like up the temperature or down the temperature. You don't want it to hit over 109 because then it kills the Lactobacillus rhodori.
Okay.
But yeah, so you just want it to be over. If it's 100, good. If it's 107, good. Like, so there's just that range, but it has to ferment for 36 hours. In the last hour of ferment, the population doubles. That's why it's like, that's at 36 hours, don't stop at 35. You got to be 36. So I actually find it's easier to do it because I do these really large batches. And then it lasts for several weeks for the whole family. Right. And so it's delicious. And then as far as like making the salsa, you just put it you put the contents in a mason jar, put like a mesh over the lid and leave it for 3 days. And it is the most delicious thing you've ever tasted. And it's full of wonderful gut microbes.
Yeah, that's a big thing. We had a lady on our show, Clearwater Cultures, met her at a show. She's actually lives in Idaho County, where I grew up. And she makes soaps and different things. And I went to her house where her little manufacturing facility is. And she's got all these different big old pots fermenting, all these different things.
Yeah.
All the different products you can buy from her. We
Nice.
interviewed her way back. It's been a couple of years, 3 years ago, I think. Clearwater Cultures, will shout out to her. And but again, and it came to her divine intervention about we need to keep our microbiome on our skin as well. We think about our gut.
Yes. Yeah.
So yeah, that's fascinating. And that's in your book, Addicted to Wellness.
Yes.
You got to get it, guys. LearnTrueHealth.com.
Yep. LearnTrueHealth.com/addicted to wellness. If they go to my website, also LearnTrueHealth.com, they'll see a little link to buy, like to go get the book.
Right.
Yeah.
They buy it directly from you rather than giving money to Jeff. Well,
actually, it directs straight to Amazon because I publish through Amazon, which just makes it super easy for me.
Right.
And I like that we can these days use like Amazon KDP, which is how you self-publish through Amazon. Yeah. It makes it really easy to allow anyone to publish a book, and then we get this information out there. So
it's sad we've got all the information at our fingertips today. I mean, we got so much. We have these smartphones, so much information. I mean, I go to bed at night. I'm trying to keep my eyes open and my ears open. I fall asleep listening to podcasts and educational information. I'm just an information junkie, but it's just so sad where, most people are not to learn. I mean, everything I've learned, I've self-learned throughout my whole life.
Yeah.
And back in the day, before fax machines, you actually went to a library.
Right.
But no, there's just, it is. We
have information overload, and the problem is
narrow focus.
But it's focus, but also the problem is knowing what direction, because, for example, one of the things I do is I show people how to reverse diabetes and no longer have insulin resistance. So I can guide you to no longer have type 2 diabetes. And within 3 to 4 months, you will not be diabetic on your blood work. You'll feel like $1 million. You'll feel amazing. But then it takes about a year to completely correct the insulin resistance so that you now have insulin sensitivity, and you can eat whatever carbs you want. You can eat bananas all day long. You can eat potatoes all day long. Your blood sugar will be amazing. You'll feel like $1 million. And then you have someone, you listen to my podcast, I show you how to do that. And then you go listen to someone else's podcast who tells you to be a carnivore and eat nothing but meat. Do the meat diet, poop once a week. Carnivore diet is where it's at. The only way to reverse diabetes is to not eat carbs, right? So you get completely opposite information. And that's the problem, is that there's conflicting information for every single thing out there. So health is confusing. I believe there's also a concerted effort on the pharmaceutical front to confuse people.
Oh, big time.
Because if we knew how to heal our bodies, we wouldn't need them most of the time, right? No. So what you want to do, my biggest advice is question everything, no matter how good someone sounds, no matter how good I sound, question everything. Be the most open-minded skeptic you can be. If it sounds weird and you don't throw it away, listen to it. I dive into the information, dive into the studies, and then find the opposite doctor. The doctor saying the opposite, dive into their studies. It's wonderful to really look and think for yourself and keep that open mind. It's okay to look at the opposing information. Just like I wish Republicans looked at the Democratic information, Democrat looked at the Republican information with an open mind. Like, we should all come together as humans wanting to build a better world, not just like, well, I'm right because my mom told me I should be a Democrat, therefore I'm always, it's just like, it's just religion. People are buying into dogma without allowing themselves to learn. So open your mind. Right. Take in new information, and then be willing to try and experiment. That's the thing. I experimented with I did over 30 diets. I experimented on my body, and I noticed the result. And I can tell you that meat-based, that carnivore diet looks really enchanting, and it's so foul. It's just a lot of and I know a few people who now can only eat meat because of how they've eliminated everything. And now they're stuck. They don't have the microbiome to handle themselves. Like, they've got parasites and they're stuck and they don't know how to get out. And that's the problem, is a lot of people get stuck in when you go down that rabbit hole of elimination, and they don't know how to come out the other side and heal themselves. So best thing to do is to take in different sources of information and then be willing to experiment, write down your results, and then try the different thing, right? So in my book, I give challenges every week for 13 weeks. There are 1 to 4 challenges that you can try. And then you write down, and every day, morning and night, it still takes like 5 minutes in the morning, 5 minutes at night. You write down your results. It's guided questions. So you take on the challenge, and each challenge builds. So there's 32, 33 health challenges. Each one builds a foundation of health.
Right.
And you try it and you experience it for yourself, and you write down your results, and you watch over 7 days as your body transforms with that health challenge. And then you could choose to continue doing that health challenge, or you could say, hey, this isn't for me. But each one, it will transform you. So my one, for example, is proper hydration. And everyone kind of just like glazes over when you start talking about drinking water, because it's free, because everyone thinks they are drinking enough water.
Right.
But most Americans are chronically dehydrated, and most of the symptoms of chronic dehydration are people are taking either over-the-counter drugs for, or being prescribed drugs for. And so I give a hydration challenge, and in that 7 days, your body will finally, every cell in your body will be fully hydrated by the end of the 7 days. You will see miracles happen. And one of them is 25% increase in cellular energy production. So if you go to stimulants, coffee, sugar for energy at any point in your day, you likely are dehydrated. So do that one challenge in my book, and notice that you will have a 25% increase in energy production.
My wife says to me, I'll say I'm a little tired. She says, yes, you need your amino acids and some water. Stat. And I go take it. It's like, oh yeah, my brain's awake now. Okay. All right. Let's go. One of the things we do here, Ashley, which we teach people how to muscle test. So people call me, they always call me, hey, Dave, such and such is going on. I says, yeah. And remember, muscle test. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. That's power. I tell people the first day, really, this is like, you can walk away now and you can start figuring things out just by, if you embrace this. But I love how in the book, you start out, good morning. Today, I'm grateful for. You have a gratitude. Gratitude's so important. That our cleanse as well. And then your goal intentions. So you have this journal, because what we all do is we forget.
I don't know if
in the book. Yeah, we'll put
there's this is the page every morning during a challenge, and every night during a challenge.
What choices did not serve me? What challenged me the most? Good choices I made. You rank yourself, good, better, best. What you had for lunch and dinner. We forget. We get going. And we forget, and I love it. Change your thoughts, change your world. And this is not an overwhelming book, folks. This is really nice. I love the font size.
Yes, I made it so you don't have to put on your readers.
I love it, especially since, I don't like straining my eyes.
Yep.
And it's very simple. And you get into just going through week 2, week 3, week 4, just a couple steps forward. You probably, if you miss a week, so what? Just pick back up.
Yeah. Yeah. Do it at your own pace.
Great explanation about high antioxidant foods. You did a really nice job of laying this book out.
Thank you.
And other, sweeteners. What's other choices you could use for sweeteners? Because we all like to have a little sweet taste, right?
Yeah. So every week we're choosing a different challenge, and you're talking about the week where we challenge ourselves to either go completely sugar-free or switch to healthier sweeteners.
Right.
As one of the 4 challenges in that week. Yeah. And that's like not every week is a physical thing. Right. Like we have weeks that are about mental health, emotional health, in some cases, spiritual health. So there's physical health challenges, but then there's also mental, emotional health challenges as well.
Yeah. And you've got back here it restored home hydrotherapy. You've got the power showers, the cold contrasting showers. So you got a little bit for everyone. I mean, I would say to listeners, you're probably not going to want, you probably won't do everything, and some things will resonate, some things won't.
Exactly.
But in this health journey, we didn't come with a manual when we were born, unfortunately. Right. We needed a manual.
Yeah.
And so this is a good way to start on that track. And of course, listen to podcasts like what Ashley and I do is a great way to quickly and easily. I mean, I think back in the 90s, if I would have had just a few of the podcasts are out there.
Right.
I know I spent so much money. I probably spent $200,000 plus all the money I lost just because I was sick. Every Friday I would go away and go see my guru and go to the hot springs, and then come. It was Friday was just toast, non-productive. Not to mention how tired I was. I remember Hal Huggins looked at me when I was do my dentistry, and he says, "I don't understand why you're even awake, David. Your blood chemistry says you shouldn't be awake."
That was me too. That was me too.
Yeah.
I had a holistic functional doctor in 2009.
Yeah.
Did my cortisol levels. They always spit in the tubes all day long. And she had been in the Olympics twice. And her and I are still friends. She's in her 80s and she like runs marathons in the desert in Las Vegas. Like she's amazing. I love her.
See,
and she looked, that is normal, right? Being able to run marathons in the desert is normal in your 80s. And that's what we all should be aiming for.
Right.
But she looked at my cortisol levels and she said, your highest cortisol during the day is everyone else's cortisol when they're sleeping. And the only time I've ever seen cortisol this low was right after I did the Olympics. But she bounced back. Yeah. That was my normal. Wow. And so she was one of my guides to help me get back on track. And she actually gave up her medical license when she realized that being a doctor was a drug dealer and she wanted to be a functional doctor. So she decided to give up her license so that she could practice functional medicine.
Yeah, they're addicted to standard of care.
Right, exactly. So yeah, sure. And her husband is a chiropractor and they run a clinic together and they're wonderful. Shout out to Dr. Jenny Ross Wilkinson. She's awesome. Wow. And yeah, she showed me that my normal energy levels were everyone's energy levels when they were sleeping. I also couldn't process human language in the morning. I was so depleted, so exhausted. My husband talked to me and I couldn't it was like, wah, 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 wah. I couldn't understand what he was saying. Wow. So that was right around the time that we were doing that challenge where we went organic. Mm-hmm. But it wasn't until I met Dr. Wallach and he showed me minerals.
Right.
And then I woke up within 5 days of taking the essential nutrients my body was missing and also cutting out. He has 12 foods that he had me remove, which are cause oxidative stress to the body and also block proper digestion and absorption. And then he got me on the right minerals. So just cleaned up how I was eating, guided me that way. And then everything came back online. And that's when I decided to turn around. This was about 2011. I turned around and said, I want to do this as my career. I want to help people get better. And yeah, so it's been wonderful. So before 2011, I was doing neurolinguistic programming and timeline therapy with people, doing coaching, largely helping people to end chronic pain and also end anxiety. I have a technique where I turn off, I teach people how to completely turn off anxiety by getting to the root cause in 90 seconds. And then, so for many years, I was helping people on the emotional, mental level, but I didn't have the tools for physical. Right. So that's the book. The book is everything that I learned, that it builds the foundations of your health and done in a way that's so fun. No matter how busy you are, you can plug into this book 5 minutes a day, 10 minutes a day, 15 minutes a day, whatever you have, and you will be able to build your health as a result.
Right. And you can't complete a journey if you don't start taking a step, guys. And you've only got one body, one time on earth to make this journey. How well do you want to live?
Yeah.
Live your best life. And this is a great tool to put in your wellness toolbox, as we call it, is having a little guide here to guide you through this with some great suggestions about hydration and everything. I mean, it's very complete. But this thing about, keeping yourself accountable, because we all forget, we get busy, we get stressed.
Right.
Next thing you know, you're grabbing a soda or a beer and sucking down some glyphosate
right.
or whatever, because you get stressed. And well, what if there was a tool? What if you had a tool in your toolbox you could pull out to counteract that? And we're all going to mess up, but I did many, many times.
Remembering also, because you track your symptoms in this book easily, we do it's fun and easy way of doing it. You'll see your progress every month. We do a monthly check-in and you actually see your progress. I have had 2 clients on separate occasions both forget that they had chronic migraines, because once I helped them get healthy again, They just was like, they forgot. That's why they came to me in the first place. And then I asked them both, two different people on separate occasions. I said, how are your migraines? And they said, what migraines? Like they completely forgot 6 months after I got them, their migraines gone.
Right.
By them following, the steps for, So we forget sometimes.
I've interviewed people after the 10-day and I says, well, what did you experience? They go through all these things. And I says, wasn't there something else? Was there something else? And this one gal, I remember the reason why she came to me, she couldn't squeeze her hands. I says, remember this? And I'm squeezing my hands. She goes, oh yeah, I forgot about that one. That was really big.
Wow.
That's what
can't write, can't drive.
I can't.
Couldn't open doors, couldn't put on clothing. But she forgot because it came back. Right. So this is what happened. So the part of the book is like checking in and being like, oh, for example, this water challenge really is working because, wow, now I'm pooping 3 times a day, or now my headaches are gone, or now my stiff joints are gone. Now I have more energy. Like I can see, you look back. Can you remember what you felt like 7 days ago? No. Can you remember what you ate 2 days ago? No. Like we don't necessarily remember how we felt. So when we make health changes, a lot of times it's like throwing arrows in the dark, and we forget to keep doing the healthy thing, keep doing the new habit, because we forget how good it made us feel and how it's helping our body be healthy. Right. So that's why the book is so important, to help you track that, so you can check back and go, oh, I really should keep doing this new health habit because it is making such a profound difference. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, it's awesome. Addicted to Wellness.
Yes.
The Healthy Addiction 12-week workbook for creating a lifelong love of well-being. And guys, once you go 2 or 3 steps forward, half a step back, no big deal. Just keep trudging forward.
Yep.
Have yourself a way to kind of keep yourself accountable, learn something new every day. And let's get those bodies detoxed and back to wellness. Ashley, thanks for being on the show. Is there anything you want to add?
Oh, I love being here. I also think listeners should check out the interview that you had on my show, which was amazing, and I loved it. So listeners can go to learntruehealth.com, use the search function. Anything you want to search. I've close to, I think I just published 520. So so we've got lots of interviews with amazing experts.
200 and something. Well,
just keep going. Just keep chugging along. I had a mentor who had over 1,000. When I started, had over 1,000. So I was like, 1,000 is a good number to aim for. I'm halfway there.
I can't believe how many I've done. It seems like yesterday I started.
Right.
Now, each week it's always a scramble. I don't interview everybody every week like you do. I go solo a lot. And so it's always coming up. I've heard myself speak and say this stuff over and over and over and over. So you're sitting here alone in the studio talking to yourself and always trying to keep something fresh and new. And I always stay up on it. But a lot of good episodes over there for sure. Yeah.
I would, even I think since you have clients in your clinic, even if they could come up with questions for you to answer, that would be great content.
Right.
They could give you questions and then you could answer it in the podcast. Or you could even have them interview you and pick your brain live. That would be cool. Like they don't necessarily have to be on video if they don't want to. They could be on the other side of the camera, asking you questions, and then you basically go live in a little classroom, because everyone would be different. Then you don't have to pre-plan. I know I would be curious to hear how you answer things, right? If it's coming from a client who's sitting there. The best interviewer is someone who's genuinely curious.
Right.
And that has been my gift, apart from God's divine guidance. When I interview people, I'm just genuinely interested, because I was sick and suffering and I got my health better, and I'm always looking to learn and help myself. But then also the purpose of my show, as is the purpose of your show, is to reach as many people as possible and to help them learn what it is to achieve true health. And that's why I named my podcast Learn True Health, because it is about this journey of learning what it is to achieve true health and how to get there, and how to build your true health. And that's mentally, emotionally, spiritually, and physically. And as a fun side note, I had a client who, he says he was born with the gift of seeing angels and guides, and he's Catholic, and he says he would be in church and he would see angels in the church. I think it's phenomenal, and he has some amazing information. But when we started, I did a live interview with him, and I was in his office, and when I hit record, he goes like, "You're just surrounded by angels guiding you." He goes like, all of a sudden they just came, and I was like, you know what? So many times, like, people compliment me and being a good interview. I'm like, I don't even think like I'm there. I feel like I'm just a listener of my own show, and I feel like I'm a fan of my own show. But when I'm sitting there interviewing, I feel like I'm being guided when it comes to asking questions. So the questions pull out the information, and the information is what we're here for, right? So you're a great interviewer and a great guest, and it was wonderful having you on my show, and it was wonderful being on your show. So thank you.
Yeah, thank you as well. So yeah, I always just say a prayer. Give me the right words. That's my prayer. Give me the right words, what I need to say, and then I just go.
Yes,
that's always
I love it.
Pretty well. I love it. Make the notes. I do now. I've started scripting more. Things. I'll be laying there at night, and things will pop in my head and go, "Oh, that'd be a great one. That's some great questions, right?" And then I'll remember that one. And then of course, next day, you don't remember it.
You will not remember it.
I've got better at speaking on the phone, like, note, do. And we got.
I don't actually prepare ahead of time for my interviews, because when I'm scripted or when I have a bunch of questions written down, I'm too much in my head. I get just discombobulated. Yeah. But when I'm present in the moment with a guest, I'm just super curious. I want to pull the information out of them. I want us to extract and learn as much as we can from that person. So I'm way more present to them. And then the questions come to me. And so many times my listeners say, you just asked the question that I was on my mind. You said exactly my question. I can't tell you how many times people have said that to me. And that's where the divine guidance comes in, which is really exciting.
I just did an interview not too long ago, and I read the book and I read everything, and I wrote down all kinds of questions. And then of course I got an interview, and then the questions were there, and we just started rolling.
Yeah.
I got done. I looked down and go, "Oh, I hit them all."
Yeah.
I didn't even look at the notes
nice.
I wrote.
Nice.
Yeah. Well, what a pleasure to have you on the show today. Thank you so much. Ashley James, Addicted to Wellness. Get it at learntruehealth.com/addicted wellness, or go to Amazon and put in the search terms. Get the book and start your journey towards wellness. Until next week, my friends, have a blessed week.
Are you tired of guessing your way through supplements? Feeling like each choice is just another shot in the dark? Unlock your health potential at takeyoursupplements.com. Here, we don't just sell supplements, we customize wellness. Connect with a true health coach who tailors your nutritional path based on your unique health goals and challenges. From fatigue to vitality, from confusion to clarity. Start your transformation today. Visit takeyoursupplements.com and discover how feeling amazing is just one free consultation away. That's takeyoursupplements.com.